All right, we are live. Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Deconversion Stories. And today I have the absolute pleasure of chatting with Yvette. It's d'Entremont, I believe.
You pronounced it correctly. I'm so impressed.
Well, like a little French-Canadian in me, so that's probably why.
It's the number of people who say they have that, and then they're like, d'Entremont. And I'm like, that was very, I'm applauding every time. Like most of the time when I'm on, like, it's most of the time whenever I'm lucky enough to be invited onto a media thing, they're like, could you spell this phonetically for us? And even then, it gets screwed up. They're like, d'Entremont. I'm like, close it up. We can do that. Right. It's cool. You got the gist. It'll go.
Anyways, guys, d'Entremont is known as the SciBabe. And if you're not familiar, I highly, highly recommend, because I pretty much fell in love with your content 4 years ago. When you started coming out, and debunking the food babe, which is like, and David.
Do you want to know how old we are? It's actually been 6 years now. It's been like, my forehead needed way less Botox then. Way less Botox. Like, I'm just saying, I was younger and sprier. Oh, I like to joke that Trump did things to my face. Like the within a few months of him getting elected, I got TMJ, and I needed, and suddenly I looked at my forehead. I'm like, how much of my 20s did I spend looking angry and confused, or was it just Trump? But like, it's funny, my doctor that works on that my headache doctor also does like TMJ management, because it's a headache thing. But he said the month that Trump was elected, he had more patients in for TMJ than he ever had in his entire career. But yeah, I joke that he caused my need for Botox, but no, it's really my vanity that caused it. So don't worry, I'll own it.
Luckily, I have not come to the need for. Well, mind you, I don't think a lot of guys really do the Botox. Sure. Maybe some, maybe in the entertainment industry.
Why would you need it? You look 19.
Right. Well, geez. I'm flushing all red now here. Like I just popped niacin or something. But
oh man, yeah. I've had some experiences popping niacin, like when I did not know what that would do. The first time you pop niacin and you don't know, you're like, I am going to die. You're sure. Like, it's not just the
what flushing, is this creepy feeling?
Oh my God. It's like not just the flushing, but like the first time I popped it, I got this stomach ache, and I'm like, death is about to befall me. It was ugly.
He's over there with a sickle going, you ready?
Yeah. It's the Reaver was there for me, and I'm like, I did this to myself. I coronavirused myself. Oh man. I see Susan in chat is saying, I have a permanent wrinkle on my forehead from this administration. I feel you, Susan. I feel you. Yeah. And I'm just saying, yours looks fine. Mine, I needed Botox. I'm just saying. Everyone else's looks fine. Mine, I had an issue with.
I gave Susan that nickname, Skeptics. By the way.
Good for it's. I am a titless wonder. It's like when I hit puberty, like everything else came in, and I itty bitty titty community for life. Anyways, just wanted that was more information than you ever wanted. If I've made anyone feel harassed, I'm sorry. So
it's okay. We know. This is all in fun, anyways.
Exactly.
But basically, Yvette, I talk to people about how they found their way out of a religious belief or whatever kind of belief. Like, for example, upcoming, I have, every time I try to think of her, I keep forgetting her name, Jessica Schaub, who used to be a guru in the world of woo. Crystal healing and all that. And she found her way out of that. So that's going to be an interesting story, too.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, I have both my story of how I left religion and because I kind of fell for a lot of the food babe shit, and then I fell myself back out, and it's because I got sick that it happened. And that's kind of how that's my superhero origin story. Or, if you ask any of the organic people, like that's my supervillain origin story. Right. But do you want the religious deconversion, or do you want the food deconversion first?
Let's start with the religion, the religious stuff. And
that one I think is I feel like the religious deconversion is so much more simple, because we've all kind of had that same thing. And I'm going to steal a George Carlin joke. I was religious until I hit the age of reason. So about the age of 7. No, I was a lot older than that. I was actually very religious, like in high school, which is kind of normal. Grew up in, like, my mom was, and here's the thing, my mom was Catholic, like born and raised Catholic. My father was Jewish and converted to Catholicism. Wow. That never happens. Like that
I'm
never
Jewish.
fucking. It's funny because now I identify as French and Jewish because I didn't know, like didn't know any of my dad's family because they didn't keep in touch. Like something about the trauma when they moved over from the old country, like no one talked to anyone. But finally, like I took a DNA test and I found out I'm a 50% Jew. I'm probably 100% that bitch too. But anyways, I found, like, I thought I was Polish and Russian on dad's side, and the DNA test came back, and I'm like, I can't say I'm not Jewish. It's just genetically what I am. And I'm like, I guess I'm a French Jew, but I'm an atheist. So, and I was raised Catholic, so that makes it even more confusing. But
you're au Jew.
I always tell people I'm a Jew. Do you know what you get when you marry a Jew and an Indian? A Hindu.
Oh, jeez.
That's a horrible one. I'm going to hell. But anyway, so
no, you're not. It doesn't exist. You're cool. It's
exactly. If I'm going to hell, the things I thought this weekend about Herr Commandant was way worse than anything I've said so far. Anyways, so grew up in
hell's
this house.
got all the scientists, so they've definitely come up with air conditioning by now. Come on.
What one would hope. But they might be the evil scientists, so they're like, let's crank it up. So anyways, I'm raised in a super religious house. I'm going to church like twice a week at some points in high school, and I'm in the church choir, and I love the choir because I like to sing. And I go to college, and I'm already and like I get out of high school, and like the church scandal, like I grew up in New Hampshire, and you know how the Archdiocese of Boston is where, like, New Hampshire is part of the Archdiocese of Boston. You know how that scandal hit right in that area. One of the kids in my home, like one of the priest in my hometown, the church that was less than a mile from my high school, ended up going to jail for molesting kids. And my brother ran cross country, and one of the guys he ran cross country with, his little brother was one of the kids that was assaulted and ended up committing suicide a few years later. And that, I would say, like, between that, you know, obviously it hitting that close to home and knowing like that this was happening in the news. And this was my first experience with seeing people saying one thing and doing other and being horrible. And it's like, that was my first big experience with seeing this horrible church hypocrisy. And I'm like, you know, maybe I still believe in God, but I can't be part of this religion because this is bad structure. So, you know, left, and I'm like, maybe I'll become Episcopalian or whatever. And like slowly through college, I started questioning more and more about being a Christian, period. And it was like, I part of it, you know, when you're raised Catholic, you're raised very pro-life. Oh, the deep shame. Mm-hmm. I learned how to argue on the internet. I cut my teeth on that, arguing on like old forums when I was like 15, you know, because I was 15 and I knew everything then.
No, we all at 15, right?
Right? Oh, I miss when I knew everything. That was so much simpler. And democracy hadn't collapsed yet. Democracy, I miss that. Anyways, so
it's room up in Canada.
Somebody just said I saw a cat and they want this. Is Oliver. He fetches. There's a video on my YouTube of him fetching. He clearly loves when I hold him like this because you can see he's very happy right
His
now.
eyes are like,
he's like, why are you doing this? He's already underneath my hand again to get scratches. So it's clearly not that mad. I obviously this ramble is taking 17 detours. So anyways, you know, I as I said, raised pro-life, and then like at 19, as happens when one is starting to get out there and leave the nest, you know, I had myself some sex, shocking, and I had not one but two forms of birth control. Like it was my first month on the pill, but they tell you the pill does not work the first month. Right. My second, I was also using a condom. It broke, and so I went to the clinic and got the morning after pill, and my period came a week late. And like my period was never. Here's the thing, that suddenly kicked into my head that it's like I was doing everything right. You know, you know, like they teach you when you're Catholic, when you're raised pro-life, that it's all, you know, it's the bad person that does that, you know. It's you know, it's only bad people that this happens to. You made a bad decision, you were being irresponsible. I'm like, I used 3 forms of birth control. And it was, my period came a week late. And I remember my mom, who raised me so pro-life, and I don't know what she believed when I was growing up, because she, you know, she was in a house with my father, and I think she tried to not rock the boat that much. But when I said to her, you know, well, God forgive me if I have an abortion, she looked at me and said, and I think she doesn't believe anymore, which makes me so happy. I dragged the atheist out of her. But, you know, she said, yeah. And I'm like, oh God, thank God. My mom said so it's true. It's fine. The divine said it's going to be fine. But like, it was,
divine permission.
That was still like terrifying to me, because it was like, I can't, like, I was 19. I had 3 years left of college. I was on a full tuition scholarship. I needed to get out of this stupid fucking town. Quick to interrupt, because people are talking about the ears. So I made the sparkliness. I did that myself because I'm 12. But these are I believe
like sparkly.
These are not sponsored. I bought them because they were a lightning deal on Amazon. I think it's Somix, SOMIX brand, and they work pretty well, and they seem to have decent sound. So the audio coming in and the audio going out both seem to work pretty well, and I've been using.
Look amazing.
Right. They come in pink and purple, and gosh darn it, they're so cute, and they just make me happy. So, but yeah. So but if people are looking at this going, I don't know if the sound quality is good. Like, it's not. They're obviously not Bose quality, but like the fact that they were on sale for $35, like this way I can like put my Bose headphones away for when like I want, you know, noise canceled on an airplane, and hopefully get more life out of them and use these for streaming. Anyways, so back to the pro. So anyways, suddenly the pro-life thing is gone. Like, because I'm starting to question deep things about what I've been told, because it's like, I wasn't a bad, this is something the church drilled into me. What did they tell me that was propaganda? What was wrong? So it's like, I start seeing all the facts about abortion, and that, you know, they've lied to me about all, you know, it's like, people don't become depressed. They don't get breast cancer. That all the things that I was told were like, you know, so suddenly give it a year or two, and I'm suddenly spiritual, but not religious, which means I'm religious. Not religious.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, exactly. I'm religious, but not religious. Basically, I'm like, I don't think I'm any religion, but there's maybe something out there. And then it was when I was living in, I was living in whatchamacallit, England for grad school, and this is like the night that like. That like was the last nail in the coffin. I'm hanging out with a Scottish playwright friend, and I did not know till years later that he was smoking heroin in front of me. I knew he was smoking something, but you know, and for someone who was studying drug toxicology, like I could not identify it out in the real world, which is why I was a lab scientist and not a cop. But he's sitting there smoking. He's smoking heroin. We're playing the guitar. The next day we had a wonderful wander around England, but he's smoking heroin, and whilst he's so high, his eyeball is doing this vertical nystagmus that is bouncing up and down, which is creepy as shit. He's getting really up in my face. Well, because we're talking about God, and he's doing kind of that dick atheist thing where he's like, all the smartest people are atheists. And I hate when atheists do this, because I think it makes us look like douchebags. But like, he's doing this thing that as a you know, as at the time a kind of snot-nosed, like, you know, grad student who liked to think I was smart, that resonated with me. But like, he also, like, when I was saying, you know, I think there's a God, I think there's a heaven, he's like, what does God look like? What does heaven look like? Where is it? And I had no answer. Like, and I mean, I get it. Like, it's probably, you know, somewhere beyond. But where's beyond? Like, I didn't have answers. And the fact that I didn't have answers made me go, I got to think about this a little bit more. And I think after that, I went from like, I think after that, I did read Hitchens. I think the first one of the, I think the first one of the atheist, like, I think I read some Penn Jillette and actually became friends with Penn for a good long time. He's delightful. I have been to his show in Vegas 8 times and only paid for one of them. So it's like whenever I was in Vegas, I'd just be like, hey, I'm here with a friend. He's like, go to the counter. There are tickets for it. Like, so he's good. If you're in his friend circle, he takes very good care of his friends. He's a very nice person.
Oh, he seems like such a cool guy. Anyways.
Yeah. It's like we don't hang out that much anymore, because like it's my life has changed. His life is it's just life has gotten very weirder, but no, he's a wonderful person. But anyways, you know, I think I started following. Oh yeah, a friend introduced me to bullshit, and around that time, and it's like around that same time, I just decided to read, I think, The God Delusion, and I think The God Delusion was that was the last. It got me comfortable saying I was an atheist, and that's where that's the last bit of it. So that was my long journey from going to church twice a week, Catholic, to it's like, and I try to be
a British dude doing heroin to make you think otherwise.
Hey, I have standards. He was Scottish.
Oh, sorry. That's what sorry about that.
Don't you dare insult Marty's honor.
What you got there? What you drinking?
Oh, I'm lazy, so it's sweet tea, but it's sweet tea that will make a southerner cry. Oh yeah, you know what? And I say this as someone who does not like. I've never sat down and made myself some sweet tea, but their sweet tea is pretty like I said, for someone who's lazy, it's pretty good. So I wake up in the morning and I need to take medication right away, and I need something that I just don't want to take it with plain water, because if the pills touch my tongue whilst they're bouncing around, and it sets off my gag reflex, and it's not okay. And it's just, so I need something that with flavor in order to take my morning meds. So I need this in my room so I can just that's that is why. It's, I smoked a joint before we went live, so I
thought about kind of on top of the game. So I've got one that I kind of half puffed yesterday that I'm kind of ready to go.
So I'm not, this is not at all to do it. I promise this isn't my cannabis dick is bigger than your cannabis dick thing. My
dealer lives in my building.
my dealer is my husband, and he's the chief scientist at a cannabis company.
Oh man! All right.
He comes, and when COVID is over, you're invited. Ooh, gummy bears are always delightful. All the pots are good pots. There is never a complaint when there's pots at the pot. Anyways, but no, it's like he comes home and he's like, I made this new thing. The coolest thing that he's made is completely colorless vapes. It's just a completely natural process by which he's managed to get every last bit. The color out. It's THCA. He's the last one. The last thing he did through a heating process, he managed to make a pen that had a higher content of CBN. And that one, CBN is the one that can give you the munchies and can make you tired. So I love it because I have insomnia, and because of one of my medications for my headaches, like I can go 2 days without having an appetite. So I'm like, all right, I've had not been hungry, please give me that pen. But been like, he's got a master's in organic chemistry, and he's using it to make better living through chemistry. So that's what husband does, and it's delightful.
I'm also a chemist as well.
Oh, what's your
I don't have a degree or anything. I basically I was top of my class in high school for chemistry, and nice. I got a job through a friend where I work at an environmental company called GFL Environmental. And what we do is we could collect waste oil, waste antifreeze, waste fuels, waste dirt
So you kind of became a chemist on the job.
Yeah, and they gave me all the training of the things that, like, I'd never used gas chromatography before. And we use argon. Argon healing.
Here's the thing: gas chromatography is the main thing. I was a GC method development analytical chemist.
There you go.
That was the main. Cool. So you know exactly what I. You've probably used the same equipment I have, which makes me so happy. I miss them so much.
Oh, they're fun, but and of course we have the aerochlores, so we have to match the different fingerprints for PCB contamination. Has to be below 2 ppm or whatever. Jeez. And then we use an ICAP machine to look for heavy metals. Which that machine is fucking amazing. Cool. And we're getting mass spec now too. So.
Yeah, it's funny. We my husband had various job offers in the cannabis industry, and of course, like because I have a platform and I'm good at public speaking and all that, like a couple different companies he had offers for were like, could we bring your wife in too? And I'm like, maybe. But there was I was going somewhere with that. Where was I going? God damn it. Shit. Weed. I had a ramble with that, and it was way too off to the side, and I'll remember it in like 2 weeks and be like, oh, it was brilliant, but I'll blame the pots.
It'll pop up again. It'll you'll just go, wait, I remember.
Yeah, like suddenly I'll be in the middle of explaining the mysteries of the universe or how exactly we can treat COVID, and I'll be like, hold on, I remember it. Yeah. So anyways, moving.
Not quite true, Doorknob.
Neil was hired because he was the only one that would lick samples to determine what they are. It's in geology, they actually do lick the rocks.
Yes.
That is a comment.
Blew me away.
I was first told that, I was like, you guys are fucking with me. And I looked it up and I'm like, you know what? They're not lying to me because they know I look everything up.
Tell different, they can tell like element or not, mineral compositions. Yeah,
and there are different flavors. It has a flavor. As someone who tells people not to slightly radioactive.
Yeah, talk about a jawbreaker. Just don't eat them.
No,
yeah,
but it was,
sorry.
Oh man, it was. There's a part of me that misses working as a chemist, and there's a part of me that's like, I get to hang out in my attic with my cats and explain science to people. This is weird.
This is fun.
Yeah, it's just us. It's just us kitties here. You know that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I will sit here.
I don't want you to break that.
Oh no, they're quite firmly attached. It's an impressive little get up here. They're cozy. I
look at you, and all I can think of is Josie and the Pussycats.
Wow. But I'm just, like I said, highly recommend these. So there's no like, I can't pop onto a single stream of mine, like, and my audience comes every week, every single stream. I love your headphones. I'm like, I'm gonna have to go back to the old one just so that this isn't a question every single stream of where did you get them. I should probably just put that in the show notes. Here's where I got these headphones. I should link that. I should link that through my Amazon affiliate accounts.
There you go. You should do that.
Oh, wow. This is why I'm not good at business. I'm good at a lot of things. Business is not one of them.
Well, that's why I have people for that. So
nice. I need one day. I need people. That's one day. I just need to be able to afford people, but I need to be good at business in order to be able to afford people. Anyways, we'll get there.
Fucking guy, I pay mine $50 every paycheck. So,
you have to pay them. That's the secret.
My producer, basically.
Now I understand. I haven't been paying them.
That's why they're no shows.
I kid. But my Oliver is getting belly rubs now, and he's very cute.
Aw.
So, anyways.
You did some talks a while ago, like BS detection in the fall of the food babe.
Oh, I did. Oh my God, that was forever. Jesus, that was
That's the first thing I saw about you, and I instantly was like, "This lady is fucking amazing. I need to."
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's weird because like I've had like articles go kind of viral since then. Like I've had some with a couple million views, but like something about that, like the story became like it's nobody. All right, no class in school that you go to, nothing that you do in your life. This is if people came for classiness, they're at the wrong podcast. I'm not the right guest for that either. So where was I? So rudely interrupted myself again. Shit.
So we're talking about the food babe thing.
Food babe. So I've had other things do well. That one somehow the story became bigger than just the article. It became like SciBabe versus Food Babe, and like it became this big media thing. And no class you ever take in school will prepare you for what it's like of 300 emails a day in your inbox from the media. Like that fucking happened. And it was I was flying back, like, I've been working on the article for a few weeks. It was my first professional piece of writing ever. It was just, it was a lot. I did not know what, I'm like, is this what happens with everything you write? No, it is not. But like, I write this thing and it goes live while like right before I leave the hotel from my first American Atheist conference that I was speaking at. So all weekend, I'm one of like the new kids at speaking. I kind of, barely got on the bill because at the time head of American Atheist, who shall not be named, liked me when he met me at another conference and was like, yeah, we'll put you on. Like he saw a 5-minute talk of mine. I was like, yeah, let's put you on. And it was funny because like it's the fact that like I left from this weekend and literally minutes later, my story is going crazy viral. By the time I had my layover in Houston, it already had 1 million views. Like
wow.
Conference ends, and before the executive board has had their end of the day meeting, this article from their also ran speaker, their speaker that people haven't heard of, but they're giving a chance. Like just it was nuts. And
how
like
were you received?
They were really great. Like I was nervous. It was my second time giving that talk, and I'd put a ton of work into it. And it's like now I give a talk and I'm like, oh, I can prepare it 2 days before and I'm fine. Like, because I've given most of these a lot. Like I'm very comfortable in the type of material that I give now. But like it was, I was new at speaking on stage. I didn't know how to handle an audience yet. And that, that takes practice. Like I have a theater degree, but knowing how to public speak as opposed to how to read a script, two very different skills. Like, knowing how to lean into an audience, knowing how to feel them out. Like that's, it's trying to, sticking a finger to the wind and knowing how your shit's going to smell 3 days from now. Like that's what reading an audience is like. It's very difficult. It's a skill, but that took some time. So the talk was done. It was received pretty well. A couple of my friends decided to come to the front row and flash me at the beginning of my very first talk for AACon. It was Heather Henderson. It was Kim Abel, and a couple other girls. But yeah, Heather look. If Heather Henderson's going to flash you, it's a good day in your life.
I would agree.
Oh yeah, I'm like it was good day. But that was my first AACon, and like it was nuts. I get back and it was just 3 weeks of nonstop. Like, and suddenly I had to figure out how to media, because I was a chemist. I had only been doing the SciBabe thing full time for a few months at that point, and it was terrifying. So that's, I got thrown into this in the deep end, and I've been trying to swim and, keeping my head above surface. So,
well, I think you've been doing just fine.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You don't know how little is in my savings account.
We're scientists. We don't get paid a lot.
Joke's on you. I don't have a savings account. So
yeah, I don't either. It's just a checking account that seems to never be completely full for some reason.
No, I don't know. Is there a full
it's like
point?
A piggy bank with a hole in it.
Is there a full point for a checking account? I just want to know. Is there like a point where they're like, you're at your max?
I don't think so.
I feel like I will never find that out quite accidentally by just putting in, ma'am, you've put too much into this bank account. You've given us too much money. We can't take it. We're
ever say that to you.
Like I think there are some bank accounts have limits on how much you can put in because the FDIC won't insure past that point. But you can open a second account at. Oh yeah, you're at a.
We have healthcare, remember? Like I said earlier, there's room for you up here if you need.
All my relatives
definitely bring the husband, because if he's a marijuana guy,
he's a marijuana guy. He's a guy who can fix things and build things, and he is a chemist who has whatchamacallit, like useful, like what's the word I'm looking for, like tactile skills outside of the lab. It's it's delightful. I like this man. I keep this man. So I'm contractually obligated to this man. So
contractually obligated.
Look, I hate paperwork. I cannot put into words how much I hate paperwork. Yeah. And in order to get away from this man, I would have to do paperwork. So I really like him. Okay.
The motivation is I hate paperwork.
Anytime we argue, it's like, just think of the paperwork, honey. Think of the paperwork. Okay, we're gonna get through this. So that's how I figured that out. It's like, look, it's my motivation to get through any argument is always better than my motivation to ever touch paperwork. It's bad.
You ever gonna, because you've done other talks, like one of my favorites was SciBabe's Guide to BS Detection.
Oh yes, I have my 10 rules to BS detection have changed. They've continued to shift and it's like
everything else, they evolve.
And it's funny because I used to frame it as, here are questions you can ask to figure out if the thing in front of you is bullshit. It's like, do I even remember my own rules to bullshit detection right now off the top of my head? One of them is obviously if they confuse correlation with causation. Like if they rely in order to sell the product, if they rely on, like one of them was the Star Wars rule. If they rely on telling you that it's from a place a long time ago and far, far away. In other words, like the type of medicine, they're like, this works because it's old and it's from India, so it works, or it's from China, so it's like, it being old doesn't mean it works. It's being from another country doesn't mean it works. You know what means it works? Evidence. But people rely on mysticism to sell things. And I think one sign that you can go, maybe I should check into that is that they're kind of the advertising campaign for a medication working. It's just where it's from. So just a thought. Let's see. God, what were my other? It's been so long. I need. It's how bad is it that I'm like, what's my list of my things that I tell people about? But sorry. I'm like, I feel.
Right. I just want to know if you're gonna write a book eventually about that kind of thing.
Whew, so there's a fun story behind that. I did write a book. You're like, where is it? So
yeah.
I had a book deal, and this is the saddest story I tell, and I hate telling it, but I'll tell you because we're here and it came up. So I got a book deal out of my article that I wrote, and that went viral. And I had this wonderful editor that I had who left the company. Now, when you're at my and it's like it broke my will to write for a long time, because I had a couple of articles get yanked because they were afraid they were going to get them sued, and then a bunch of stuff got yanked in a year. And it was it just destroyed me mentally. But this book, I'd written, this all, like I said, this all hasn't been roses. So the book, so I had this first editor who was wonderful. She quit the company, and eventually I figured out why. So her former boss was assigned to be my editor. The boss doesn't, for months and months we're emailing saying, hey, have you read, I get the book in on time for the first read through. And I don't know if it there were obviously problems with the first draft because it's a first draft and I was a first time author. They don't get me back, and we keep emailing them asking for notes, so even if they give us some notes, a couple chapters at a time, so we can work on it, anything, they give us nothing for 9 months. 9 months. And then when we get notes back in September, they're from a freelance editor, not the editor that was assigned to it. They're from a freelancer who loved Dr. Oz and astrology and hated me and asked why in the chapter on detoxes I didn't tell them the perks, the plus sides to detoxes. Mm-hmm. Why didn't I tell people the good parts? There aren't any positive sides of detoxes. I'm not writing that book. You write that book. so then I get reassigned.
People think there are.
Yeah. So of course they do. So then I got reassigned back to the editor that was supposed to have me, and then for a week before she gets fired, then I'm sitting in limbo for a while. And then I get put over to another editor who seems to like me, but she's a believer in traditional Chinese medicine. And when I refused to back down on she wanted me to write about why it was bad. And I mean, look, I want to be clear when I say this. I think that cultural appropriation really is a thing. And I think that there are times when people do this in a way that is disrespectful and shitty. And I think that there are times when white people in this country try to say something is spiritual and from another country, and they lead in, they do kind of culturally appropriate something in order to sell it better. I think that happens. I'm not arguing with my editor's point on that. However, she said she wanted me to write about the cultural appropriation of traditional Chinese medicine and not that it didn't work. And I would not.
Oh, wow.
That's not.
That was the end of that.
And that lost me my book deal. Now, here's the thing. So Simon and I can't tell I'm not supposed to talk about the amount that I made for it probably, but normally when they decide to cut cut a book deal. Now it got to the end of 3 years at this point, and it had been a little nuts because it's me and my agent, we had emailed them over and over and over and over again trying to get feedback, anything, and they sent us one email with feedback once. That's all in 3 years. There were obviously other communications, but there were so few. And when, the end of this came and they're like, all right, we're cutting the book. It made sense because at that point, the topic seemed so I need to shift it a lot because a lot of these things feel topical from the year that we made them, or from, when it was made originally. But at first, we're like, all right, do they want the deposit back, the first half of this? And we sent them, here are the emails you gave us. This is all you said. This tiny little list is the only thing you gave us in 3 years. You sent us you might have been done reading this in July. They're supposed to give you notes back from your book within maybe 2 months. 3 is a long time. So they were finished reading my book in July and gave me the notes in September.
Wow.
So, and I turned it in the previous December. That's 9.
That's
so
almost
I mean,
a year. Like, yeah, 9 months, easy.
And they're looking at me like, well, why didn't you have anything back to us sooner? I'm like, because you didn't give me any notes. I didn't know what you wanted. Like, how could I have given you? How could I have changed?
Communication is a two-way street.
Yeah. So I mean, here's the thing. At the end of it, when my lit agent sent them the list of here's all you did. This is you did not do your job. They didn't make me give back the deposit. So they spent a lot of money for me to not write a book. So. Wow. Yeah, and as my
count that as a win, maybe.
I really want my book out there. So here's the thing.
Sure.
I should probably go through, and here's what I should do: is I should probably go through, do some, do a scrub up on it, do some really like hardcore editing, and make it into something that I'm proud of today, and independently publish it. I feel like that's a thing that could work out.
Lots of people do that.
Yeah, like it's been sitting there for a while, and it's like, why not just get it onto a shelf somehow? Why not get it out to people who are like, I'm going to your website and I like your stuff. I would like to read your book.
Absolutely, because you've already got a sale. I mean, I'd be all over that right away, and I'd be promoting the shit out of it.
Thank you. And I know a lot of people who like read my stuff, or who read my normal my stuff I do all the time. Yeah, God, my blog is neglected. It's my fun stuff.
I know you haven't put there in a while. So.
Oh no, it's not just that. Like my website accidentally got wiped out. There was somebody who I'd been a friend of mine when I first started up my website. Helped me set up
a bookmarked.
It's still set up. It's just a lot of the blog entries are gone. And here's the thing: they're really old. A lot of them are about like tiny little websites that no one's ever heard of. And I kind of wanted to move on from a lot of those anyway. Like some of them I feel were cringy anyway. I feel like my writing is better, but like it gives me a chance to do a clean slate. But like a friend of mine had helped set up the hosting for my site, and when I realized how much money he was charging me above and beyond what the hosting actually cost, I was so mad I was shaking. But I only had like a day to transfer it over, and like we have the content saved, but like we just didn't have a chance to like responsibly move all the content over, and it was just. It was interesting to see that happen with someone who I thought was like I said, it hasn't all been roses, but I try to keep a sunny disposition with things like kidney ears. So.
Whatever works, man.
Things aren't always going to be okay. You're gonna meet people who are going to be dicks sometimes. You're going to have deals fall through. Like the number of things I've had that have looked like sure things, like, you're going to be on this TV show. Here's a thing we're doing for Vogue. We'd like you to be a part of. And they just, either someone doesn't call back or you'll be like way through the and just things don't always work out. So it has made me, I would say, given me a tougher skin, a thicker skin a little bit, because it's been, you feel like you've made it because one day you're on the cover of the LA Times, which is fucking nuts. And like, and you're walking around and nobody knows who you are. Like it's when I went to pay for the LA Times that I was on the cover of, and I'm so excited because I'm like, here,
it's me. Look,
they're like $1.25, please. Like, there's nothing you could, and like, it kind of, it's great though. It lets you know, hey, you live in LA. So the only person who counts.
Oh yeah.
Show, not you, which is great. Like here's the thing. It is good for me to understand, like, even though I have a following, it's good for me to understand that there are approximately 7.7 billion people on this planet, and approximately 7.7 don't give a fuck about me. I would rather keep that idea in my head than keep the idea that everybody is just me. Like that's a horrible.
Yeah, you don't want the ego to, be placated too much. I guess, right?
No, like I know people who they get like 5,000 followers on Facebook, and they're like, yeah, I'm famous. I'm like, oh, some of my tiny little rants get 5,000 likes from within the circle of the followers I already had. Like, and it's like I'm like, I don't want to squash enthusiasm. I just want to. I want to help.
Not come back to reality.
I want to forge these people in the fires of what I went through. Like, yeah. I know how hard this is. Like it's a good. I have housemates who are musicians and are trying to like make it as working musicians. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you need to get on YouTube and promote your, and they're not doing quite as much of the online stuff as I'm like. You're stuck in the house. Go put your stuff everywhere. 1 out of 4 of them is doing that.
This is a very good friend. Whoops, hang on. Very good friend of mine. The Daily Atheist morning show. And his name is Chris Mallard. And he does a show every morning. And if you're, mind you, I must warn you, he's in Texas, so they're 2 hours ahead.
Ah.
So morning for him is like stupid o'clock in the morning for you and I.
Or I might still be awake from the previous day. Like these things happen.
That's what I was going to say.
I like
but
to
you
say,
could still be up.
It's true. Like between 4 and 6 a.m., I think are hours that just you shouldn't see. You shouldn't be awake before then, and you shouldn't be up after then. If you're up, something went wrong.
I have to go to work. I have to be at work by 5 a.m. So
I used to wake up at 4:45 in the morning to get to work. So like I say this now as someone who like I live in time. Time is kind of wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. Like there's no. I live in apocalypse writer time. So it's whatever I want it to be. Huge
suggestion. I think Chris would probably love to have you on to talk a little bit about science and stuff. Definitely, because he's up for all that kind of thing. So. I can connect you two through Twitter. Yeah. I'll just start a group and add the two of you. And you guys can talk about that.
Do the thing.
Because I mean, let's face it, with this Corona bullshit going on right now, Corona's not bullshit. I didn't mean it that way, guys. But it's actually called SARS-CoV-2, just so you guys know the actual.
Indeed. SARS-CoV-2.
Yeah. So with all that, a lot of us have more free time to get online and chit chat. And I think it's a great way to socialize too, especially in times like this, right? And I'll tell you, when I popped into your Facebook show that one day, because I have you on in the background if I'm at work. Yeah, but like I'll listen to you.
Noise. It's
like because I'm working.
I love hearing that because like I have creators that I love that like I have for background noise, and I'm like, oh, I'm that for someone else. That makes me so happy. Totally. That just made me think I'm part of someone else's ecosystem. That makes me so happy. Anyways, carry on. Exactly. I don't know why my voice is like going up an octave. Like this is what happened. It's maybe look, I'm giddy because we've gotten the first good news out of the White House in years. I'm not gonna,
Well, I mean, I never like to wish death on people, but I mean, there are some people that I wouldn't lose sleep.
I'm not wishing death on anyone. I'm just chilling champagne for no reason whatsoever. No reason. Look,
sorry. Yeah, no. I'll finish my thought here. That when I saw you that one time,
spreading the news. Sorry, just kidding. Yeah. I'm just. I can't wait. It could come any minute. It could happen. That the tape they put. Here. Can I tell you something that's a little conspiratorial? A little, a tiny bit. I think the video they put out today was taken 2 days ago, or taken yesterday when he first went to the hospital. Did you see they put out a second video a couple hours ago?
I did not see the second one.
Oh yeah, they put out one saying, thank you for this. Like it was a kind of, thank you for your support. But it's like this guy allegedly had a fever and all the other things that you hear about with people having with COVID. And here's the thing, looking at it, and this is where I'm like, I feel like a QAnon bozo who's like looking at tiny little details, but I'm like looking at the hair compared to this video, comparing the video from today to him walking to the tarmac yesterday. There are some, I get it. His hair always looks like a fucking mess, but there are some things that are aberrant that are not normal from there. Like he has this one clump of hair that's like gelled straight downwards on his right temple. And it's like, it's in both days. Now, hair, like it's hairspray, they were going to fix up his hair before he went on camera. That kind of thing they would have fixed, like that would have been brushed. It would have gotten crunched up before the next day's hair, shoot. Like I'm almost sure this was filmed the day before, which, there are people who they want to keep the country calm. It seems weird that they would put out this tape of him doing fine and then also put out Operation MAGA of all of his surrogates going out and doing the campaigning for him. I'm like, really? He's okay? Everything's fine? And you're telling us all this plans to have everyone else really can't get him on live? I'm just saying. This is I could be absolutely wrong, but he was also wearing the same exact
fever of 103 or some shit.
Yeah.
So,
and more details keep Oh yeah, that they thought that might have been as a reaction to the polyclonal antibody or multiclonal antibodies, but it's kind of nuts. Like looking at Oh yeah, he has a bunch of risk factors. He's 74. He's obese. He is being a male increases your risk of fatality by twofold. He has heart disease, and he also has metabolic syndrome. And metabolic syndrome is an inflammatory process, and that's kind of like a couple of my doctor friends have kind of thrown around the idea that this is what causes people who are obese to have worse cases, is that it's the inflammatory bit of it. So if he already has metabolic syndrome, that's not a good sign. So, I mean, I like, and this is going to sound awful. I would have liked him to live through the election because that would stop some turmoil, but it's 2020 and we're not going to get anything we want this year. So, it's going to be an interesting few weeks, guys. Hold on tight.
Indeed. And I'm getting yelled at by my friend Susan Skeptics, who also does a show called Explain Like I'm 5.
Oh, that sounds like a really fun show. It
could be.
I'm sitting here going, how many?
You haven't had me on yet, but
I'll try to explain things like you're 5 if you would like. It's the way to get me on your podcast is it's very difficult. It's ask. That's
well, that's what I was going to say earlier. I that one time you were on, and I'm like, you know what? She's awesome. I'm gonna see if she'll come on my show. So I just typed in there, and you were like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, just email me. And I'm like, it's right on.
It's like there's a thing every once in a while, and finally this has stopped. Like for months, I was getting I got onto some PR fucking mailing list somehow, and those PR mailers, like it was like they were selling my name to everywhere because I kept getting emails from different PR agents. I'm like, block, no, 50 more have shown up in its place. It's crazy. And finally, I figured out where, what the main company was that did it and sent out a couple of angry tweets. And people do not like angry tweets from blue check marks, I will tell you. So finally, they took my name off all their lists. So it took but for months, because I was, getting inundated with up to 100 emails a day from these things. I lost so many emails. So I'm sure there were people that emailed me being like, hey, you told me to message you and I just missed shit because there were just spam on top of spam on top of spam. So now I have a new email address that I tell people to send me, requests and whatnot for the podcast. So,
So you said, just ask. Well, there you go.
Yeah, indeed. Susan said, hey, want to be on my show? Yes, I do. Email me, SciBabe@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Pretty basic.
There you go. And you can set that up because, I think you'd be great on her show too because they talk, but actually their topics are varied. So
I will try to explain to you you're 5. I'll bring a lollipop if that will help.
I have a bacon lollipop,
A bacon. Wait, is it a lollipop made of physical bacon, or is it a lollipop with candy flavored of bacon pop? Yeah. I'm a little terrified. I got to admit, candy that is made to be flavored of meat. It's there's here's the thing. I will make candied bacon, but candy that tastes like meat, I'm suspicious.
I'm down to try it. It's just that's such a unique thing. I decided not to open it.
Yeah, I'm
and it's
curious.
6 years old, so I'm kind of afraid to eat it.
I'm curious, and I'm also going kind of Dr. Ian Malcolm, man focused so hard on if he could, he didn't stop to ask if he should. So we went a little far with the bacon there. Anyway.
So your chat with Seth that I popped up on Twitter. I'm like, because I hadn't actually heard that, so I went back to listen to it. And Seth, I mean, let's face it, the guy's got a gold voice.
His smooth radio voice makes me jealous. Right? I would like a voice that sounds like it was made to do this job. Instead, I am a stutterer who sometimes sounds like I was cut out for this.
Well, when I had him on the show, because I've been told I got a voice for radio.
You do.
It's him as a face for radio. Voice. But him and I together on the show, people are like, holy crap, this is like atheist ASMR going on.
Oh yeah, I would listen to you guys talking for ages. It's funny because I listen to. Here's how I know I'm getting old. Because I used to hate meditation stuff and listen to soothing sounds to fall asleep. Now I listen to a meditation app with music with talking to you. I'm like, what have I turned into? Hey. My God! But here's the thing. No, I love it. But here's the thing. I only listen. It's hi Shannon Q. It's weird because I can only deal with the male voice in it for some reason. I don't know why. I'm not sure. I think it's because like here's the thing, women's ears are tuned to like perk up or to like we're tuned to hear like actively listen to. And if someone in the comments wants to fact check me on this, go ahead. But we're kind of tuned to hear. We're tuned to hear a higher pitched voice, and it's because women, we're supposed to be taking care of the babies. Yeah, exactly. So there's something about listening to the lower tone, the kind of and it doesn't matter what it feels like. It's weird. It doesn't seem to matter what the nasality is or whatnot, but the guy's voice is always like help me fall asleep a little bit better. So it's Shannon. I science and I'm snarky and my headphones. I did the pink and the purple glitter on them myself, but they're Somix and I got them on sale on Amazon. That's the story. I hope that helps.
I guarantee you, she's going to have a pair soon.
Yay! Everyone should have a pair of these. They make me so happy. I think it's just like I think part of that happiness is like the response from like it's this like look, we can't be in the same room as people. Like there's this wonderful synergy that happens when you're in the same room as people and everyone's getting happy. And like we haven't had that for months, but there's this it's this weird like I like them more because other people are like, oh, and I'm like, I feel happy now. I guess there's like somewhere in there there's a hashtag capitalism, but like there's they were worth it because they give me a nice little glow. They're delightful.
I buy things that make me happy. I don't see what's wrong with that.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with it. I think there's nothing wrong with a possession giving you joy. I think hinging joy on possessions is that
can be a problem. Yeah.
Exactly. So
I mean, let's face it, we're still kids. We grow up and we get this new toy and we play with it for a month or two and it gets tossed in the closet.
Yeah, it's anytime there is a new, like, I think this might be a symptom of untreated ADHD, but how many times have you been like, oh, this is my new thing, and you've done nothing but read about it for like 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, this isn't what I'm going to do something else. Like, and they're left with a pile of stuff from that thing that was going to be your new thing. Like, I have like 6 piles, I'm sure, at least. This has happened a few times.
You've got a new fan.
I'm glad. It's come over to facebook.com/SciBabe. Join the merry little join the pirate ship. We have cats and dogs. We have a spare cat for you if you'd like to pet one.
She's a fellow Canuck, just like me. She's on the other coast, though, the right coast, as opposed to Katie.
Meow. He was just sitting there being very cute, so I figured it was time to interrupt him from being quiet. He was like, "No, Mom, it's over. It's your time is over, Mom. No more." He's a very we have 3 cats and they're very they all have such unique little personalities. It's like dogs you kind of train into anything. Like cats, they show up and they're like, I am who I am, deal. They're fun.
Cats, and really they're hilarious because I have one that loves to come in. It's not my cat, actually, it's my roommate's cat, but his name is Max, and he loves to come in my room because this used to be his quote unquote playground before I moved in here.
Oh,
so he tries to sneak in all the time, and then he hides under my bed for like an hour. So I'm just watching TV, and finally I'll be watching, and then it'll be this. He'll jump up and like land on my chest, and I'll be like, "Oh, jeez!" It's like, buddy, lay off the kibbles there.
Oh yeah. No, I have. We have 4. We have 4 of them. One dog, 3 cats, and there's one cat that's very lightweight. There's one, and then there are 2 cats. One of them is fat, and one of them is big boned. There's a very big difference here. One of them needs to lay off the kibble, and one of them is a large animal, and they're both about the same weight. So they jump. They're like, oh, like because I have this little like in the middle of my little workspace here. I have the chaise here, so I tend to plop down here to do most of my work. And right now my computer is plopped up on a table, and laptop will come down here with me. The animals will just run and jump from across the table and come flying onto my sternum. I'm like, they're going to find me dead one day from my sternum busting through my lungs because the cats were like, hey, we could do this. We could just do this if we want. It's fine. Fine. It's a thing we do. We're cats. Oh.
Shannon, you're not a loser. Not everyone gets. I stumbled upon Yvette here like 4 or 5 years ago. So.
As I said earlier, 7.7 billion people on the planet. Approximately 7.7 billion don't know who I am. That's fine. It's fine.
Well, one less anyways, because I knew you.
We're working on it. We're getting there. I just like, look, like there are people on the planet, like the person, I think the YouTuber with the most followers is it PewDiePie? Is it him? I hate that guy, but yeah. Yeah, same. Like, it's like, obviously, but like there have to be people on the planet who don't know who the fuck PewDiePie is, and he has 50 million followers. I have 300,000, so it's fine if you don't know who I am. It happens.
I think I have about 5,000 something on Twitter and just under 4,000 on Facebook, so not too bad. Working on it. It's working. Yeah, it's getting up
and
there.
you have a wonderful crew here. They are delightful.
Yeah, they're awesome people.
So it is a healthy conversation going. I like it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how long have you been doing the show?
I have been doing this now, just over 2 years. And you know what? I started out, and actually Shannon's been on my show. Many folks in the audience have been on my show, actually.
Nice.
And I started doing this because I'd watched people like Seth and Matt Dillahunty and Aaron Raw and all the big ones, and Sam Harris even, watching some of the Hitchens clips, and then I got this engineer who's another friend of mine named John, and he always says at the end of his videos, use your voice. And I thought, well, what can I do in the community that I don't see a lot of? I mean, I know Seth did some deconversion stuff when he first started out with the whole podcast thing, but I thought I got to be a part of this, because I think religion needs to sort of slowly but surely disappear and something better to replace it. But
what is the something better to replace it, though? I mean, like, as much as we're like, as we think, it's someone's
reality and science,
right? I see Pine Snake just said it's your first time here, so we're being nice on purpose, SciBabe. Well, I appreciate it. Okay, I'll bring my kitty ears back if you keep being nice. Okay, anyways, but I appreciate it. But anyways, let's see. Science Triple. Here's the thing. I think that and there was this great comedy routine from Patton Oswalt, and I'm gonna paraphrase some of it. There are gonna be some people on this planet, I think, and as much as I wish this wasn't true, I'm kind of at this point in my life convinced that we might not ever get rid of religion. And there are some people. I wish we could get religion to be less bad. Like, I think there are some people that, without telling them, hey, there's a demon up, there's a thing up, there's a shit demon up above, and if you don't pray to Lord Parasway, that's down that's living on Mount Canis, and you have to do this once a week. Like, if you put out this, like, look, the shit demon's gonna shit on you. It's gonna happen. If you do anything wrong, but you have to pray. Like, and they set up a set of rules, and it keeps people from being dickheads. And this was society. We were living in caves. We were just we were doing bad, dumb, stupid, whatever. And some people were like, we have to get the fuck out of these caves. Let's give some rules. Let's pretend God said it. Like, that's how it started. And maybe it made us a little less lizard brainy. And I don't know if we're ever going to be able to get away from that. I just don't know. And I look at it and go, if we could make religion and that's not my domain because I'm not religious, but if religion could hop, into like the 14th century, that'd be cool. Like, I would love to see that happen. Like, if they could actually be good humanists in religion. In some places, hard. Did you see the Mormon? There was a convention today with Mormon leaders, and they were tweeting it today, and it was amazing. All the things they were tweeting about, like, all the leaders were every single one of them, like, including like a 92-year-old man. They were all wearing masks. Even I believe when they were speaking, the quotes they were giving were about love and acceptance, loving your neighbor as you love yourself, and people. I mean, all the things were very clearly, like, without saying his name, very clearly anti-Trump. And it was interesting to see the stuff that was getting put out there. And I saw, a tweet from someone who was Mormon about it. And he's saying, it's interesting watching people, and, I think he was talking about people in his faith. He's like, it's interesting watching people in my faith who are so mad about our leaders telling people to be Christ-like. And I'm like, I'm here for this content. I love seeing religious people who are preaching the same humanism that I want. So, I'm sure that there are obviously things that we disagree with, but I'm like, if religion keeps coming in this direction, if they respond to, and I don't believe in the concept of evil. I think it's like, if they respond to something, but let's go with the word. If they respond to something,
do good things, bad people do bad things.
Yeah. Right? Like, if they respond to something evil like Donald Trump. And instead of going with the flow, they go, no, we're going to take a stand. We're going to learn. We're going to grow. Other people can do that too. Other religious people can do that too. And I would love to see more of that. I think we can do it. I think, if these people, a lot of people start, religious people are just like us. We were religious. They want to do good. Let's hope they do good in a better way. Let's hope they learn.
Be more moral than their fucking deity. That's all I can tell you.
Exactly. So it's like it would be nice if we could get rid of it forever. I think it's gonna be less and less, but I don't think it'll go away. And I hope that with the society that's more secular, and with people seeing that you can be secular and not follow these very silly rules, in order to be moral. Oh my God! Don't eat figs. They said nothing about the other F word, but they did say very explicitly not to eat figs.
Well, yeah, especially because Jesus flipped out on a tree that wouldn't fruit for him.
Yeah, I mean,
because it was out of season. Like, go figure.
It's maybe Jesus, if he'd just known about agriculture, if he was just a farmer's son, not a carpenter's son, maybe that was the big problem. Maybe the fig tree wouldn't have been damned if Mary had found a farmer to be her baby daddy.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying, like, I would love it if it turned out the whole story from the Bible is that like she just cheated on Joseph. I think that'd be fucking great.
There was a little video clip you could see where they did a pregnancy test with Mary and Joseph, and it comes back and Joseph is not the father, and he's all like, "Woohoo!" and he's jumping around on stage like a Maury Povich kind of thing. It was hysterical.
Oh my God, that's fantastic. Oh,
it was hysterical.
It's funny, like you accept a lot of the stuff when you're a kid because like why wouldn't you like
people you trust?
Like you're 5 and you know nothing about reality and the universe, and people you trust are telling you Mary was a virgin and she was wonderful and pure and baby Jesus meek and mild. They get to the whole, like, they don't tell you about Acts and Numbers and Romans and Deuteronomy, and like all the ones that are telling, and Revelations. They stay way the fuck away from Revelations when you're 6 for some reason. I'm like, why didn't you tell me about the God that's going to smite me? Tell me about that. Why didn't you tell us about God who told you how to rape people? Tell us about that shit in the Bible. Like,
and how to beat your slaves properly. And...
Oh my God. But they stick to that to all of that, like, mythology of, of the stuff that seems very sweet. And then when you get older and you start kind of questioning it, you're like, maybe Mary just fucked around and then was like, no, it was God. It's really God. And like, she just had a guy
without consent, apparently.
Yeah. Too. It's like, but I think she said, like, it was weird because like God like knew she was gonna say yes, but the angel still wanted, like, I remember having this lesson in Catholic school. They're like, God knew she was gonna say yes, and that's why she had immaculate conception. She was the only one born without sin on her soul. Jesus was not the immaculate conception. She was the immaculate conception. I think a lot of people get that one mixed up. She was the only one born without original sin on her soul, because it's just, he had to ask her to do the thing that he'd already, like, what was she going to do? Be like, nah, I'm aborting this fucker. Like, was that a possibility? I want it. But that's when you lay down the foundation of how to form reasonability schema.
Nefarious,
Yeah. So it's, I wonder about these things as an adult. And I'm like, I think that's why they tell you the really mystical stuff when you're a kid. So it's so ingrained that it seems and it seems sweet. It's a fairy tale when you're a kid, only they just lay it
too when you're
and
a
it's
kid,
like,
right?
yeah, it's exactly. And it's like, you get to being an adult and you're like, it's just, you don't even, if you stay in the religion, these are things you never really question, and you leave and you're like, oh, this looks as fucking stupid as every other religion, as every other religion's mystical stupid shit. So that's where I got after a while.
Yeah. I mean, I think back of when I was in Hebrew school, because that's what we had to do. We go to Hebrew school as little Jewish kids, right? Which I'm sure you're aware of. And I got in the hallway. I got put in the hallway all the time because I asked questions that the teacher couldn't answer.
It's weird because a lot of I heard at Hebrew school, like, they actually at least more so than Catholic school, I heard they would actually answer your questions occasionally. You're like, nah, not me. You're like, I was busting through.
Oh yeah, I was a troublemaker as a kid, so I was always in the fucking hallway. So I mean, I look at me. I look like a
It's you killed my joke. I was just about to say you do, but you don't look like you look like a very calm, even-keeled man who would never raise your voice slightly or step out of line, sir.
Oh,
so
well.
I see a comment at me.
I got them all fooled.
Oh man,
I raise my voice when necessary, definitely.
I've learned I'm definitely one of those people who, when I get mad, I get very quiet, and it's terrifying. Like there are two levels of anger with me.
About the quiet ones.
If I'm very quiet, I am so mad that I don't even know how to speak loudly about this because I'll start screaming. Like I've only gotten that mad at my husband like maybe once, but it's like 6
Just comes
years.
in the room with something to hit him with already, right? Get me something. No, I'm already. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Here's a ruler.
Hello, buddy. I have my tiny adorable little dog. Yes, he is the most adorable. Hello, buddy. Hello. Oh hi. Oh hi. Oh, he's gonna try to get up he's
trying to steal the show.
He always does, whether it's my live stream or me on someone else's show or on
you
my
and
podcast.
Seth together with both your dogs. That was like,
oh my god, right?
Too cute.
Oh yeah, like I was hoping we could like hold them up to this side of the. I'm gonna keep doing the dog to that side of the camera so we could look like they were giving a kiss. So he was like,
that was hilarious.
Come here, buddy. Come here. If you could just sit on my lap and be good, that would be fantastic. He was napping with my husband, so he loves being curled up with dad for a nap. But then every once in a while he'll hear me when I'm live streaming. He's like, "Mom's alive. Mom's out there making noise." There's a human I can get snuggles from. Here's a couple thing. So, good times. It's what quick question. How long does this go for? And I know you said there's a thing after it because I can tell
we
that.
should do it after party.
Good times because I can quickly at least run through the how I stopped believing in the food babe stuff. If you I don't know how long does this one go to?
Yeah, if you want to throw that out there, we can. As soon as we're done that, I'll bring this to an end and we'll jump right in there.
Yeah. Let's do the very quick version of it. So I got sick with my headaches about a decade ago, and like one day I just got the worst headache of my life, never went away. It's ever got a headache happened to me. So got that headache, never went away, and I'm dealing with, at this point I already had a master's degree, so you would think I would know not to fall bullshit when you are sick with the worst headache of your life, with the worst pain of your life, and it's in your face and it's not going away and you're not getting answers, you'll fall for you'll look anywhere. And I was going to my doctors. I was trying to read peer-reviewed papers, but like eventually, because I was much bigger at the time. I was about 100 pounds heavier when when my headaches first started. And being heavier, of course, like doctors, like the first couple doctors were like, well, if you lose some weight and exercise and cut down on the caffeine, we're sure your headaches will just clear right up. I cut down on the caffeine and lost weight, and I still have a headache. But they but like it took literally 9.5 years for them to properly diagnose this and get it. Actually today is my 1 year anniversary of having my headache properly medicated. So happy no headache anniversary to me. We're here to celebrate my anniversary, actually.
That's what this is really all about.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, it took like a dozen neurologists. Like it's hard to have doctors look at you like you're full of shit. Like it's really hard to have doctors look at you and say and tell you this is all in your head. I'm like, oh, you went to medical school to locate where headaches happen? Like, you know what they mean? It's like they would think it was psychological. They would think you were like, and I never, because I knew from looking up that this was some sort of a trigeminal nerve headache. And like, I knew those weren't treated with opiates. I was never looking for an opiate. I knew that seizure meds, anti-inflammatories, and antidepressants are generally the drug classes that are used to treat this. And they were like, anytime I showed up somewhere and said I was in pain though, like automatically they're trying to diagnose me with migraines. And I had not, like, you need to be nauseous or light sound sensitive in order to have it be one of the types of migraines. A regular, like, because there are occipital migraines, but like most of the main types of migraines, you need one of those telltale signs. And I had all the signs of a trigeminal nerve disorder. And I had doctors just refuse to look at it as though it was anything other than a migraine, because, well, you're a woman in your 20s and that's what it's going to be. Like, so it was a long, yeah. Yeah, it was rough. So anyways, so I fell for a lot of the food bullshit is the punchline for that. Because I was like, I'm not getting any relief and it's horrible. So at
Did
one
it come
point,
from a place of desperation, do you think? Or
yes, that is and this is why I try, to say I try to aim for kindness in how I talk to people about this stuff, because I've been there and I get it. You're not like, if someone believes something that I don't about food and they're like, this is good, like maybe they've been through a thing with their health and they're like, I'm afraid of this happening again. Like I was terrified at one point that it was the pesticides or it was the GMOs or it was the meat or it was the whatever. At one point I'd gone vegan for like nearly 2 years. I cut out, like I tried to cut out GMOs. I'd gone mostly organic. Like I was, I remember walking up and down the aisles and like I wouldn't like get anything with canola oil. I was so like, I was being such, like I was one of those, like it wasn't, I think the phrase there was orthorexic was the phrase they would use for people who don't have, it's not like they're cutting their calories down, but they're so obsessed with healthy eating that they'll start cutting healthy foods out even. And it was strange because my obsession in there wasn't like to try to be healthier. It was to try to, like, I had this horrible head pain that I had been convinced maybe was being caused by something in the food supply because we couldn't find any other answers. So eventually we got a doctor that kind of sort of got it managed a while ago. And I was like, let's start. And this is when I kind of started seeing reason about the stuff. We found a doctor who a long time ago got it managed, at least temporarily. It's yeah, exactly. But she was a saint, and if I could remember her name, I would go back and hug her when COVID's over. But she got she got it under control for a bit, about 7 years ago now. And I realized, I needed medicine. I'd slowly start incorporating things back into my diet, and I realized it wasn't the food. And it was like, I felt so like I was mad, I was lied to. And then confluence of factors, I started working at a pesticide company. And it was like, I saw all the things that I've been told about, the food supply isn't safe and there's no testing that goes into these. And then I was the one doing the testing. And I'm surrounded by industrial sized things of pesticides, and I'm exposed to more of them at work, or, if I wasn't dealing with, like, I was exposed to so much of them compared to what you're exposed to in the food supply, and nothing ever happened to me. And I realized, I'm like, I've been lied to when I was in a precarious place with my health. And I was so mad. And I think that I kept seeing the Food Babe lying about the type of stuff, because she was saying these things aren't tested. I'm like, what do you think I did today? Play Scrabble? Was I watching porn? I wasn't watching porn all day. It's 6 hours max. Like, it was so annoying to see her say this is what was happening in the industry I was working in, especially knowing that I'd taken some of her advice when I was sick because of the things she'd said happened in this industry. And I started finding places like SciBabe, but I think that was like one of the places that were making fun of her. And I'm like, well, I'll see if I'll see if I could enter the fray. And it just kind of happened. And that was the end of my conversion from being
when you took the name SciBabe too, right?
It was actually Science Babe, and then I found out there was already a Science Babe. I did bad, and I may have culpated my ass off for that one. But yeah, it's when I made a website, I did SciBabe, and that was how we differentiated. I'm like, is it okay? And here's the thing: she will still get email that's for me, and I feel very bad. She's a physicist named Debbie. She's wonderful. When I say she's wonderful, her name is Debbie Berabichez, and she has a PhD in I want to say physics, obviously, but no, she's brilliant. She is on the Science Channel's show Outrageous Acts of Science, I believe it is, and she's better at this job than I am. But yeah, she's fantastic.
Oh, I don't know. Come on, you guys just have different approaches. That's all.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. I say and I look at people who are so much more professional than I am and aren't goofy. I'm like, oh, I should be that, and then I realized they can't do the goofy stuff, and it's fine. But no, she is so good. I watched her give a talk, and I was blown away because I'm like, she's fun. I think that there are a lot of people who will say, oh, they're funny, and they're kind of they don't mean it. She's funny. She has comic timing, and she's so smart. And I look up to her so much. So I feel really bad that she still gets my hate mail. So I'm racked. Look, I'm half Jewish, and I'm racked with all that guilt.
Yes. I'm there. I had a Jewish mom, I'm there.
I have one Jewish parent and one Catholic parent. My only religion is guilt. So that's all I have left. All I have.
That's it. We're going to start a new religion, guilt religion, right now.
Oh man,
it started. Yeah. No, we're not. I don't.
No,
I'm going to edit that out later.
You know, I have a funny story that I'll tell in the after party that has to do with guilt. So I'll let you do I'll let you do your thing.
All right. Well, first of all, Yvette, thank you fucking so much for joining me today. It's been so much fun chatting with you. I've been looking forward to this for quite a while. So
thank you for having me. It's been sitting there looming large on my calendar for a while, and I saw it today. I'm like, I hope this is still on his calendar because I was waiting for it. So this was so much fun. Your audience is delightful. If this is is there a place where this goes where this is an audio later or?
I don't do that yet. That's probably coming down the pipe later, and I will probably convert some of the more ones that I liked into those audio sort of formats. So that could happen in the future for sure. But basically, what I'll do is I'm going to take a little bit of a break because I kind of got to pee. You know, we don't drink beer; we just rent it. You know, right? So,
I have to.
And then
we'll do the thing.
I'll send you a fresh link for the after party. You'll probably join. I know there's already people that are like, "Oh, I got to come in and meet her." So, as I warned you ahead of time, that's probably going to happen. So, anyone who would like to join Yvette, also known as the SciBabe, and myself for the after party, send me a message on Twitter or Facebook if you're not on Twitter, and I will send you a join link. And if it gets to be where I got a lot of people, we'll have to swap people in and out. Okay, just so you know. So. Anyways, Yvette, once again, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Everyone go down and check out the links below. If you like what you heard tonight, you have no idea what this amazing lady is capable of and the kind of knowledge she imparts on the average Joes like you and me. Until next time, guys, with this whole COVID-19 thing going on, remember to be well and be safe. All be kind. If you do dig what I do, you can also become a patron here as well. For me, the links are below for that as well. You can also grab me something off my wish list from Amazon if you'd like. There are multiple ways you can help out the show. Just being here and being in the audience and give me a like or a thumbs up and subscribing if you're not also helps the show. So, like I always say at the end of these shows, like the late, great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not.